Hey, what's happening everyone? SirJames from Gamerfuzion.com, and in today's video I'm here to provide you guys a product review courtesy of GAMDIAS, and this is their latest product known as the Zeus P1 RGB optical gaming mouse. This mouse is the newest of their lineup, which retails for the price tag of $80, and pretty much here is what you can expect. First off, do keep in mind that I am in no shape or form getting paid to promote these items. However, they did send the item free of charge. So going over the mouse, as you can see from its design point, it's pretty much looks like a standard mouse. However, there is a little bit more to it because this is a gaming mouse. Starting off with the sides, you do have the textured design grip, which you can find located on the far left and of course the far right. These work out quite well because for me, I often get sweaty fingertips for a long play, and having something that provides grip and for my comfort is always a nice touch, and these actually work out quite well. So I've had no issues with these, especially for some of the longer terms and some of the first-person shooter games that I've been playing recently, such as Battlefield 1. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about the DPI settings. Now, as you guys know, when it comes to a gaming mouse, usually there's a variety of different DPI settings that you can go up to. This one in particular goes up to 12,000. And of course, what's nice about this one introduces their double layer RGB design, which as you can see all the way around the mouse, you can see the nice rainbow effect going along. Now, of course, you can do a little bit more with this, which I'll talk about that more when we get into the software, and of course, some other items as well. As far as the buttons go, you do have a couple buttons right here on the left hand side, one up here and one down here. You do have the standard left and right click. You also have your DPI settings located here, the mouse wheel, and of course this also clicks down for an extra button as well. As for the design, besides the LED options, you do have the logo, which is also lit in an LED option. Unfortunately, the mouse wheel doesn't have an LED option, which I think would have been a nicer touch, but that's just my opinion. And of course you have a design up here as well. As for the cable, it is gold plated at the very end with a braided cable. And of course here is the very bottom. Now before we move on into the software, a couple things I want to talk about. First off, as you can see here, we have the logo which is lit up. You could actually do a few different options here besides changing the brightness settings with the software known as Hera, but you could also have it as a breathe effect too. Not only that, this logo actually resembles the DPI settings. You will notice that when I click up here to go to a higher DPI, this will also change color. So meaning that one way to tell what DPI settings you are without having to move the mouse is by simply looking at the color. So depending on what color it is, that will determine the DPI. And of course you could also customize this to your liking using the initial software included. So again, very simple as that. And of course you go all the way down, and red for the most part, for me at least, is going to be its default, which is a little bit of a lower, but it kind of works out, especially for first person shooters. But other than that, the mouse is lightweight. There is no heaviness whatsoever. Like I said, the grips work out fine, and the LEDs look very nice at night. So let's go ahead and take one step closer and take a look at its software. Alright, so next up, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the software because that's pretty important for this product. Upon starting up the product, which by the way is called Hera, you can find that free on their site to download. You're going to be presented with a page like this. You're going to have a lot of artwork, and upon highlighting selective ones, you are going to kind of get an idea of the product, and upon selecting it, you are going to be going onto their main website where you can learn a little bit more. Same thing for the keyboards, headsets, and of course future accessories that you could find on their site. But ours is right here, and of course you'll see it highlighted down here on the very bottom. So if you have that item plugged in, you're going to find it, basically click it, there you go, now you're on the page. Now here is all your different options. The first one is called the key assignments, and you can create up to 5 different profiles here. So meaning that you can go here and kind of tweak things around. Again, there's not many buttons on here, so you can't really customize it, let's say for games like MMOs, for example. But first person shooters, you can kind of do a little bit of minimum things here. For example, I have a couple different settings for Battlefield and Overwatch that I like to use certain different profiles. But this is where you go, basically select which one you want to customize, and then go down here and kind of figure out what it is that you want it to do. Next up is the micromanagement. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what this is for because I've never used it, but it's there. Next up is the mouse control. Very important here. As you may recall, I mentioned that depending on what TBI settings that you choose, you're going to have a different color on the logo on the mouse. What's cool about this is, let's say you want that particular DPI settings or color to be a certain option, then you can go here manually onto the software and select which one you want it to be at. So maybe you want it to be maxed out, maybe you want it to be midway or a little bit less than that. Again, you can kind of tweak things around, kind of get an idea what each color means, and then go with your personal favorite settings. You also have the polling rates, the cursor speed, vertical scroll speed, and the double click speed. Again, very simple. Now, this is where you are getting your money's worth besides all the different options, of course, is the colors, because this is a customizable mouse. You have color options, and honestly, this is pretty neat. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about this portion. This portion right here is for the logo. So you can have the logo off, dim, bright, or you can have it go with a breathing option. So it's going to remain lit, and then as time passes, it's going to fade out and fade back in, which is an option, honestly, I mostly prefer using. Next up, of course, is the lighting options for the rest of the mouse. You're going to see different options here. You have your single color, and here, if you just want it to be one color, you can kind of go here and mess with the software. I'm noticing here kind of shows that the mouse wheel does light up, but for me, I've never noticed the mouse light up at all. I just thought that was kind of weird. But again, if you want the mouse to be a certain color, you do have that option that you can kind of mess around with, which is always neat. You also have lighting effects, and here you have different preset options, and of course you could also select, once I get out of here, the brightness and the speed. You have breathing, which is right here. This will kind of fade in and out. You also have neon, which is an alright option. You also have your color wave, which is usually one of the default options, along with the responsive fade in. And basically what happens is that every time you click the mouse, it lights up like so. Again, as simple as that. And of course, you also have the parallel wave. Now, another cool option here is that you can go to a custom pattern and you could customize it to how it is that you want. As you can see here, we have all these different color options. So let's say I wanted to do a mouse pattern that is, a little bit more American, red, white, and blue. So the way I would go about that is that I would go here to the color palette. Let's go ahead and make this portion red. So I'm basically going to select the red and make all these red. All right, next up we need blue, so I'm going to make the other side blue. Of course, the angle where my camera is, you're only most likely seeing the one side and partial of the other. And now we have this last bit right here, so we're going to go ahead and make that white. And there you go, simple as that. I'll put a photo so you can kind of get the crisp gist of it. But like I said, you can basically go here, you can change it to however it is that you want it to be. Customize it to your liking, simple as that, and I think that's pretty neat. I really like that option. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on parallel wave. You also have a sign, sound, and timer. Again, there's an option here. I'm not entirely sure what it's for, something I don't really use, to be honest. You also have sound file edits, a timer settings, and of course you can go here and make sure that your software is up to date, either for the hero software or just the product in general. And that's pretty much it. Overall, I've actually really enjoyed the product. It is comfortable to use. I've had no problems with it. I love how much basically work and detail they put into the lighting effects of this. But overall, this is something I would easily recommend, and out of 5 stars, I easily give this a 5 out of 5. If you guys have any questions or you want a link to their site, I'll have that information in the description down below. But until then, I am SirJames from Gamerfuzion.com, where we empower your gaming.